Hey, beautiful. I'm so glad you're here. Whether you've been navigating the dating world, are in a new relationship, or you just started falling for someone yourself, this conversation is going to speak directly to your heart. Today, I want to talk about something we don't hear enough from the male perspective. Something that's often misunderstood, overlooked, or written off as too subtle to notice, but when you do know what to look for, it's like the whole picture becomes clear. You see, we often focus on how women show love, how we nurture, how we communicate, how we give. But what about men? What do they do when they're really in it? Not just when they're interested, not just when they're enjoying the chemistry, but when they've fallen deeply, head over heels, soul first, heart wide open, in love. That's what this is about, because when a man truly loves a woman, he shifts in ways that are noticeable if you're paying attention, and incredibly powerful when you are. This isn't about guesswork, it's about emotional truth. And by the end of this, you'll not only understand the signs, you'll feel the difference between a man who's passing through and a man who's planning to stay. So let's dive into the 5 powerful things men do when they fall deeply in love. And trust me, once you know them, you'll never look at love the same way again. When a man falls deeply in love, one of the clearest signs is this. He starts to prioritize you consistently, not just when it's easy or convenient for him. There's a big difference between someone who makes time for you when their schedule is open and someone who makes space for you regardless of what their calendar looks like. And when a man's heart is truly invested, your presence becomes a priority, not an option. You don't feel like you're waiting around for his attention anymore. You're not constantly wondering if today he's in the mood to see you or if you'll be hearing from him later. He creates a rhythm with you, a pattern of showing up, and not just physically, but emotionally and mentally as well. He doesn't disappear for days and then pop back in like nothing happened. He doesn't treat you like a weekend activity. He weaves you into the fabric of his life. And this isn't about texting you every second of the day or seeing you 24/7. That's not realistic, and it's not healthy either. But when a man is in love, you start to notice the consistency in his efforts. He checks in, he follows through. He doesn't make you wonder where you stand. If he says he's going to call, he does. If he says he wants to see you, he sets a time, not just a vague sometime soon. The deeper reason behind this is emotional security. A man who's in love feels safe investing in you because he's no longer operating from fear or uncertainty. He's moving from connection. He starts to measure his week in moments with you. He thinks about you when he's making decisions, planning trips, or navigating stressful days. And it's not because he's trying to impress you anymore, it's because his world feels better with you in it. You matter, so his actions reflect that. There's also a shift in how he handles other priorities in his life. He still works, he still sees his friends, he still chases his goals, but now you're integrated into that picture. You don't feel like you're competing with the rest of his life for a sliver of attention. You feel included. He shares what's going on with him, brings you into his world, and asks about yours, not out of obligation, but because he genuinely cares. And perhaps the most powerful part, he doesn't just prioritize you in the good times. He shows up when things aren't perfect, when he's tired, stressed, or overwhelmed. He doesn't retreat into himself or shut you out. He lets you in. He still finds ways to connect, even if it's just a short call or a quick message to say, hey, today's been crazy, but I wanted to hear your voice. He understands that love isn't built in the highlights, it's built in the consistency. This kind of prioritization doesn't just feel good, it creates emotional safety. It tells you, you don't have to hustle for my love, you don't have to prove your worth. I see you, I choose you, and I'm gonna keep choosing you. That's the kind of man who's in love. That's the kind of love that doesn't leave you second guessing, because when you're truly important to someone, you'll never feel like you're interrupting their life. You'll feel like you're becoming part of it. When a man falls deeply in love, something shifts in the way he listens. And I don't mean he just hears the words you say, I mean he truly listens. not just to your stories or updates about your day, but to your emotions, your silences, and the meaning behind what you're not saying out loud. You'll notice it in the small moments. When you're telling a story that seems trivial to you, maybe about something annoying that happened at work or a conversation with your sister, he's tuned in. He remembers names, situations, the little things that matter to you. He asks follow-up questions days later, even when you've forgotten you mentioned it. Why? Because he's not just listening to reply, he's listening to know you. Every detail you share helps him understand your world more clearly, and when he loves you, he wants to live in your world. There's a kind of attentiveness that comes from emotional investment. When a man is in love, your happiness matters deeply to him. So he listens not just for information, but for connection. If something's bothering you, he doesn't brush it off or change the subject. He leans in. He wants to know how you feel, even when you don't have the perfect words for it. He creates space for you to be vulnerable, to unravel your thoughts without feeling like you have to edit yourself. That level of listening creates emotional safety. You start to feel like you don't need to over-explain or beg for understanding or pretend you're fine when you're not. He starts picking up on your moods without you having to announce them. He knows when something's off, and he cares enough to check in, not in a controlling way, but in a loving, grounding way, the kind of, I'm here even when you're quiet presence. That makes you feel like you're not alone in this life anymore. And it's not just about deep conversations either. A man in love listens even during light-hearted moments. He remembers your favorite snack, your coffee order, the way you like to wind down after a long day. These aren't grand romantic gestures. The everyday ways he shows you, I see you, I value what matters to you, and I'm paying attention. The truth is, a man who's not in love might still be charming, funny, and interested in what you're saying for a while, but when the honeymoon phase wears off, so does his focus. You start feeling like you're talking to someone who's only halfway there. But a man who's truly in love doesn't stop listening after the chase is over. In fact, he listens more, because now you're not just someone he's trying to win, you're someone he genuinely doesn't want to lose. And here's something even deeper. When a man listens to you in this way, it changes the emotional climate of your relationship. It builds trust. It makes you feel respected. It opens up space for intimacy that goes far beyond the physical, because now you're connecting at a level where your soul feels held. And that kind of connection, it lasts. So if you're ever wondering how deeply a man loves you, don't just look at the gifts, the compliments, or even how often he says, I love you. Look at how he listens. Look at whether he's present, whether he remembers the things that matter to you. Because when a man is in love, your voice isn't background noise. It's his favorite sound. When a man falls deeply in love, he starts to protect your heart in ways you may not even expect. And I don't mean just physically, like standing on the outside of the sidewalk or walking you to your car at night, though those things matter too. I mean emotionally. He starts to look out for you, not because he sees you as weak, but because he respects your vulnerability and values your emotional well-being. There's a powerful shift that happens when love deepens. A man moves from thinking about what he wants from you to thinking about how he can take care of you. And that doesn't mean he tries to control you or fix you or make you dependent on him. It means he becomes aware of the weight you carry, the stress you hide, the little things that wear you down. And he steps in with the kind of support that says, I've got you. You don't have to do everything on your own anymore. He starts to notice when you're emotionally tired. Maybe you've had a hard day. Maybe someone said something that shook your confidence, or maybe you're dealing with something from your past. Whatever it is, he doesn't dismiss it or make you feel like you're being dramatic. He takes it seriously. He checks in with you, and most importantly, he holds space for your feelings without making it about him. That's one of the clearest ways a man reveals his love, by being emotionally steady when you need him most. When you cry, he doesn't get uncomfortable. When you express fear or frustration, He doesn't try to silence you with logic. He understands that protecting your heart isn't about solving every problem. It's about showing up when it matters, about standing beside you emotionally and making you feel safe in his presence. And this protective instinct extends into how he talks about you to others too. A man in love doesn't joke about you behind your back. He doesn't let people speak disrespectfully about you. He defends your character even when you're not around. He treats your name with care. Why? Because protecting your heart also means protecting your dignity. In his eyes, you are his person, and with that comes a deep sense of loyalty. You'll also notice that he becomes mindful of how his words and actions affect you. He doesn't weaponize your insecurities. He doesn't make jokes that sting. He communicates with intention, not just to be right or clever, but to connect with you on a level that builds trust. Even in conflict, a man who loves you deeply will try not to harm you. He won't throw your wounds in your face or try to win an argument by breaking you down. That's not love. That's ego. But when he's in love, his ego takes a backseat to your emotional safety. He starts choosing peace over pride, understanding over judgment. And that's rare, because emotional protection, real protection, requires maturity, empathy, and a deep sense of responsibility for the space he holds in your life. And look, no one's perfect. Even a man who loves you deeply is going to make mistakes. He might say the wrong thing, miss a cue, or get distracted by life sometimes, but here's the difference. He cares when he does. He checks himself. He tries to be better. Because in his heart, you're not just a woman he loves. You're someone he wants to protect from the harshness of the world, not add to it. That's what happens when a man falls deeply in love. He doesn't just cherish your body, he shields your soul. And you never have to question whether he has your back, because his love shows it in the way he guards your heart. When a man falls deeply in love, one of the most beautiful things you'll notice is that he starts to open up about his fears, his dreams, and his past. Now, this might sound simple, but for most men, it's actually a huge deal. Because men are often taught from a young age to be strong, self-reliant, and to only show the parts of themselves that look confident and composed. Vulnerability? That's not something society usually rewards in men. In fact, they're often taught to hide it. So when a man begins to expose that side of himself to you, it means he's moved into a whole new emotional territory, one where he trusts you, one where he's stopped performing and started being. When he's in love, he no longer feels the need to impress you with a curated version of who he is. He wants you to know the real him, not just his strengths, but also his insecurities. He may share stories about moments in his life where he felt like he failed, where he doubted himself, where he was hurt. And when he does this, it's not because he's looking for pity. It's because he wants to feel seen. He wants to be understood. And in you, he's found someone safe enough to finally let the mask down. And let me tell you something important. When a man gives you access to this part of himself, it's not casual. It's not surface level. It's sacred, because it means he doesn't just love the way you look or the way you make him feel. He trusts your heart with his. And that kind of vulnerability is how emotional intimacy is truly built. This also shows up in the way he talks about his future. When a man is in love, he doesn't just tell you what he wants to do in life. He starts imagining how you fit into that vision. He might casually mention a trip he wants to take or where he sees himself living someday, and you're included in that mental picture. You're not just a guest in his life. He's starting to build something that involves you, even if he doesn't say it directly just yet. But perhaps even more revealing is when he talks about the things that scare him, not just fears about work or money, but the deeper stuff. Fear of not being good enough, fear of failure, fear of being vulnerable and getting hurt. That's the stuff men really try to hide. And when he shares it with you, it means he's chosen connection over self-protection. And here's where you come in. How you respond in those moments matters. If you meet his openness with compassion instead of criticism, with presence instead of pressure, you create an emotional environment where love can deepen even further. You show him that intimacy isn't about being perfect, it's about being real together. That's when a man starts to relax into love. That's when he knows he's not alone anymore. And again, no man does this on day one. It takes time. He may test the waters with small disclosures, little hints at his inner world before he opens the door fully. But once he does, you'll feel it. You'll see it in his eyes, in his posture, in the way he softens around you. He's no longer just trying to win you over, he's letting you in. When a man falls deeply in love, he doesn't just show you his best version, he shows you his honest version. And when he does that, it's one of the clearest signs his heart is fully in it. Not because he has to trust you, but because loving you makes him want to. When a man falls deeply in love, one of the most significant things you'll notice is that he starts to include you in his decision making. Not just about the big life choices, but about the little things too. And I'm not just talking about the decisions that directly affect you. I'm talking about the choices he makes about his career, his friendships, his time. When a man is truly in love, he starts to view his life as a shared experience. He wants to build a future that involves you, even when it's not explicitly about you. You'll start to see it in the way he talks about the direction his life is going. Maybe he brings up plans for career growth, and suddenly he's factoring in how that will impact you both. Maybe he mentions something about taking a job opportunity that would require him to move, and without hesitation, he's already considering how that decision would affect you. He doesn't just make decisions and then inform you about them after the fact. He seeks your opinion, listens to your thoughts, and tries to build a vision that aligns with what you both want. That's how you know love has deepened. He's no longer thinking of himself as the center of his universe. He's thinking about how his choices fit into a shared future. And in doing so, he starts to create space for you in ways that go beyond just being together. He's considering your happiness, your needs, and your growth as part of the bigger picture. It's not about sacrifice, and it's certainly not about losing himself. It's about building something together where both of you are seen and valued. And let's be clear here, this doesn't mean he's going to ask you for permission on every decision or abandon his own goals. But when a man is truly in love, he starts to value your input. He begins to see the partnership as more than just two people living parallel lives. He realizes that your perspectives, your values, and your desires are just as important as his own. He knows that a life together doesn't just happen because you're physically in the same space. It happens because you're moving in the same direction with mutual respect and shared goals. It's also about the little things. For example, he might begin considering how his day-to-day life affects you in ways that go beyond the obvious. If he's planning a weekend getaway with friends, he checks in with you first to see if you'd like to join. If he's thinking of a new hobby, he might ask you if it's something you'd be interested in too. This isn't just about being nice or trying to please you. It's his way of saying, I want us to enjoy life together, not just coexist in the same space. And let's not forget the vulnerability of asking for your input. It's easy for a man to make decisions on his own and never show his cards, but when he's truly in love, he wants to bring you into those choices. He wants your opinion, your guidance, and he values what you bring to the table. This is a sign of respect, but it's also a sign of his deep emotional commitment. He doesn't want to make decisions in a vacuum anymore. He wants to make them with you. Another key aspect of this is that he's no longer afraid of being wrong. Love doesn't mean always having the right answer. It means being willing to be wrong together and figure things out as a team. If a decision doesn't work out, he's not looking for someone to blame. He's looking for ways to learn and move forward with you by his side. There's a humility that comes with love. A willingness to admit, I don't have it all figured out, but I trust us to figure it out together. Ultimately, when a man starts to include you in his decisions, it's a profound sign that his love is real. He's no longer just living his own life and letting you be a part of it. He's living your life together, with intention, with commitment, and with love. And when he treats you as an equal partner in all aspects of his life, you can be sure that he's deeply in love with you. So there you have it. These 5 powerful signs are the telltale markers of a man who has truly fallen deeply in love. From the way he listens to the depth of his vulnerability, to the way he starts to protect your heart and includes you in his life decisions, love shows up in profound and transformative ways. But here's the most important thing to remember. These behaviors aren't just about what a man is doing for you. They are about how he feels when he is truly in love. They are his way of showing you that he is invested in you, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Love at its deepest level is about connection, trust, and vulnerability. When a man is in love with you, he doesn't hold back. He becomes more of himself. And in doing so, he invites you to do the same. So the next time you see these signs, trust that they're not just fleeting actions or momentary gestures. They're the foundation of a relationship that is growing into something deeper, more meaningful, and more lasting. A man who truly loves you will show you, not just with words, but through his actions and his heart, that you are worth everything to him. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you noticed any of these signs in your relationship, or perhaps from someone you're seeing? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. I'd love to hear how these behaviors have shown up in your life. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more relationship advice, and turn on the notifications so you never miss a video. And remember, love is something that grows over time, so keep nurturing your relationship with patience, respect, and trust. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.